The Running Man by Stephen King, writing under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman, is a dystopian thriller that hits way too close to home in this day and age. Now, if you've seen the 1987 movie of the same name, then maybe you recognize The Running Man, but however, you don't know half of it. Yes, there is a title character named Ben Richards who is competing in a television game show called The Running Man, but really the comparisons stop there. In 2025 dystopian America, Ben Richards is at home watching the government public broadcasting, which consists of game shows where people compete and risk their lives for money. This is a world where non-government sanctioned work is nearly non-existent. If you do not follow the government's mandates, then you probably are jobless like Ben Richards is. The government doesn't really supplement these people's incomes, and so they struggle for their day-to-day life. And we find Ben at home with his wife and his baby daughter, who is sick with the flu and in dire need of medication. This is what pushes Ben Richards to his breaking point to finally go down to the game's network building and join the line of desperate people hoping to compete in the games. The beginning of this book, where Ben Richards is examined by the network doctors to see if he's healthy enough to compete in the games or unhealthy enough to compete in other games, while the average citizen cannot afford healthcare and his baby daughter is dying at home, that all hits way too close to home today. Ben is an unfavorable man in the eyes of the government, being that he left his government-sanctioned job behind. Ben has issues with authority and is considered unsocial, which makes him a perfect candidate for the network's most popular game, the most deadly game, The Running Man. And up to this point, no one has survived this game. Ben is given a suite to stay in a hotel for the next few days while he rests, kind of fattens up before the games, very similar to what happens to Peeta and Katniss in the Hunger Games. After his little rest and relaxation, Ben is released out into the wide world with a 24-hour head start before the stalkers and hunters begin to follow him. And the goal of this game is to survive 30 days while being pursued. And a twist in this game is that the public at large is incentivized to report him, turn him in, give tips on locations of where to find him, and they get money in return. Once the game is on, the feeling of paranoia really overtakes the story, and the fear of being hunted is suffocating. There was a few times I had to stop and come up for air. What you really have to admire about this story is the feeling of anger that comes through on Ben Richards' behalf. This is the everyman who was given no options in life and has nowhere else to turn. There are no boots, there are no bootstraps, there is no pulling yourself up, it is go or die. I rated The Running Man 4.25 stars. I had a very good time with this book. It was a lot different than what I was expecting, and I really appreciated that. I was able to predict the ending by the third act, but that did not detract of my enjoyment of the story as it developed. I would really recommend this book to dystopian fans. If you like really fast-paced thrillers, this might be right up your alley. Also, if you like morally gray protagonists, you really can't get behind everything Ben Richards has to say and the way he feels, but you really can sympathize with his situation and how you can find yourself in the same one. Like, subscribe, and follow for more book reviews.